Good morning, traders. Welcome back to Market Mornings, your daily rundown of headlines, market moves, and chart setups. Everything you need to start your trading day off right. I'm Reed. We got another packed show as always, so let's get straight into it. But before we begin, let me just remind everybody that this stream is for informational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own research and consult with a licensed professional before making any financial decisions. So let's get, we always go into the top headlines, and this is all to give you the landscape of the market. You always want to check out and see, how the water, what the temperature of the water is before you stick your foot in it. So right now, the S&P 500 is up 0.44%. This is all pre-market stuff. This may change by the time you look at this. Nasdaq is up 0.4%. The 10-year is hovering around a good level, 4.38%, and the Hang Seng Index is down a little bit, 0.48%. So the top headlines, as we've been watching, is of course Trump versus Elon, and I think this is round 3 and 2 and 3 popped off yesterday. Round 2 was in the morning, round 3 was in the afternoon. So if you've been following it, Trump and Musk basically got into a tit for tat on, it started with, let's just play it. Let's go to Chrome here. 1 second.
Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and which was a lot of money for electric vehicles, and they're having a hard time with electric vehicles, and they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And Elon knew this from the beginning. I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval Desk. And even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is. So you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best thing. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem. And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different. And I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody.
All right, so that's what popped it off. I guess, Elon said, that's not true. And he came with a series of tweets. Go to Twitter here. We'll go to Elon's Twitter. Let's find where he started popping it off. He basically said, yeah, he winks at this, like, what's going on here? Elon has never asked me for a thing. I mean, I got rid of the EV mandate, but he's never asked me for a thing. He's like, what? Yeah, right. But before then, like he said, Trump, he's like, Elon was wearing thin. Like, basically, he was getting on everybody's nerves. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate, and that was forcing everybody to buy these electric cars. And basically, Elon said such an obvious lie. So sad. And so so they get into this tit for tat on if you want to look at Trump's Twitter. like they just been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it even got to the point where Elon basically said, Trump threatened to cancel his contracts, and Elon was like, "Well, I'm decommissioning the Dragon spacecraft immediately." If you know anything about that, that's the spacecraft that takes astronauts from Earth to the space station. And then he's like, time to drop a really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why it's not getting released. So it just got worse and worse, and he winked at this video right here. So it just continued to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So Musk signals he's open for a cooling off period. So after trading blows, Elon and Donald Trump, they may be calling a truce. So Musk, and this may be due to Musk shares plummeting. So if you look at, and Musk, Musk share in Tesla. So if you look at it, this is when, Tesla's share price, when Trump first said he's very disappointed in Elon, all right, it tanks. Musk says, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Such ingratitude," continues to tank. Trump, when he said, I've asked him to leave and he went crazy, tanks. Remember I told you about the such an obvious lie, tanks. So I guess Elon had enough. He said, "No mas, no mas." And now it's since rebounded. So, it looks like it went about 3 rounds. We don't know if we're going to get round 4. Because right now, like I said, Musk is saying no mas. He wants the cool off period. He lost about 150 billion or so. And, Congress doesn't look like they're scared of him. But one of the things that was very interesting, if we go back to his Twitter, I believe he has it pinned. Yeah, he says, "Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% of the people?" And I voted. I voted just to vote, but it looks like I voted to see the results. But it looks like 80% of the people of his people, and he's got like 5 million votes. That's pretty strong. Say yes. So we'll continue to monitor that, but reports say a call is scheduled between Musk and the White House today. So we will try to get you an update on that. But like I said, it looks like that may be coming to an end here. I guess, let me see. Lululemon is back in the news. Yesterday they were up. Maybe they heard me talking. Today they down. Lululemon seeks 20% with tariffs and a fashion and hitting the fashion market or industry. Lululemon posted a second straight disappointing quarter, fueling concerns that rising competition, new tariffs, and a shift away from yoga pants are derailing its ambitious growth plans. I don't know, man. Is we always late to the party? Because now they're saying it's a shift away from yoga pants. I thought the yoga pants was coming in, but I guess I'm wrong. It says the retailer is projecting sales in the range of 2.5 billion to 2.56 billion for its. I have been seeing people on the news, not on the news, but on the social news, printing out receipts, for Lululemon that they've stolen. So that may be where all the sales is going that I see. But anyways, Lululemon also forecasts a quarterly profit well below expectations. So, one day you up, next day you down. That's how the market goes. The athletic retailer, like I said, they missed a second straight quarter and they slashed their 2025 outlook. Well, as you see, shares are down 22%. Growth story is under pressure. All right, and then we got Trump. Trump says he's open to lowering the SALT tax in the GOP tax bill. So this is news. Trump told Senate Republicans he is open to changing that. The tax deduction cap lower than the $40,000 in the House. I guess this means a lot to people They say in New York, um, Trump signaled his position in a meeting with Senate Finance Committee Republicans on Wednesday. I guess we just found out about it today, but that push has led to resistance from the House. Mike Johnson says he's going to keep fighting to keep the $40,000 cap. So there's not a single Republican senator from New York, New Jersey, or California. So there's not a strong sentiment in the Republican conference to do 350 billion for the state. So like I said, this is more so a Northeast thing and out in California. And he's like, we don't even have any senators from New York or any of these places. So to hell with them, basically. I guess some people can understand that. Let me see. The BOJ is said to consider smaller reduction to bond buying. The Bank of China, that's the BOJ, Bank of Japan, officials are likely to consider slowing its pullback from buying government debt. At a policy meeting later this month, the officials will probably discuss making smaller reductions to the central bank's bond buying from pairing pace of 400 billion yen. That's about 2.8 billion per quarter. They're adding concerns of, they're doing this because they're uncertain of the global bond market. So this is one of our main, it's the safest investment in the world. And they're saying that they may pull back on it. So we'll continue to watch that. That's definitely going to shape the landscape here. And then the job numbers. Let me see if I can find something on the jobs report. We'll go with CNBC. So the jobs report, non-farm payroll rose 139,000 for the month. So that's wrong. I don't know where this came from. This is January. So anyways, let me see, 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I guess maybe my numbers are wrong, but it's saying 139,000 jobs last month. But either way, that beats the what was forecasted. So Fed futures now price just a 42% chance of a cut by September. The 10-year yield are bouncing slightly on the news. So as you can see, the 10-year was up a little bit. So basically, like I said, if the numbers come in good, we were damned if we do, damned if we don't. If the numbers come in good, then we're likely not going to get a bounce. If they come in, excuse me, I got a visitor. If they came in soft, then we were gonna, the markets were gonna tank. But since they came in hot, that decreases the chances of a rate cut, which could also make the market tank after a slight bump. So continue to monitor that. Beware of the bear trap that this may create. So like I said, just do your research, but it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky with these job numbers. So that brings us to the watch list that we've been talking about. So we'll go straight to the charts, and we're gonna start off with Coinbase. Coinbase is not an index. All right, so and the market's open right now, but as you can see, they are. I'm still neutral to bullish on them. The bear wick is formed. They've rebounded from that, bounced off this 240 support. So like I said, in the long run, I'm definitely good with Coinbase. I may be okay with holding this over the weekend. It's a little tricky, a little scary right now. So, do your own research on that. But I'm neutral to bearish on this. Qualcomm. Go with Qualcomm. Qualcomm is I'm bullish on Qualcomm. It's holding above this neckline here after it hit the target. So we got a pretty good level, as you can see, of support at 144-ish. And it's bounced off of that and it's continuing to go. So maybe we don't, the momentum is changing a little bit. RSI is at 55. Not a lot of strength in this movement right now. So we may get a bounce in here and a bounce there, but I think it's going to hold in this level between 147.75 and 150 for a little bit before breaking out to some of these higher numbers on 154, 156. Talked about that yesterday. SEC Limited. Sorry, my computer's running slow. Let me close some of these windows over here. C Limited. I'm bearish on C Limited. I know I said that it was, probably a good time to take profit, but right now I'm bearish. On the 1 hour chart, it broke the neckline, but it used that as support, and it's shot up ever since. So that we got a bull wick forming here. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said I was bearish. So yeah, but even though we have a bull wick here, I just think it's probably run its course. Like I said, want to take profit on that. It got rejected at the 170. So right now it's at it broke through. Actually, I don't know. I think I'm gonna change my. When I looked at the chart, I said bullish. I said bearish, but in my mind, I'm like, this could go up. So it's broke through this 170 resistance here, and it bounced off of it. So it's found support. So we could, momentum's going down. It's a little bit overbought. Like I said, it probably will fall back down to the 170 and bounce up. So I don't know. I'm iffy on that. Long run, definitely a good play, but you don't want to get in and it crash back down to 57 and you're saying I told you the wrong thing. So I'm neutral on that, but watch for because there could be a flush to 150, so watch for that. PayPal. PayPal, I'm bullish on. It's holding structure above 72, like I talked about all this week. 72, then 73, then hopefully 74. It's on its way right now. RSI is above 60. It's holding that little overbought, but it's got strong momentum here. Momentum's coming down to a 1, but that it hasn't given a clear direction change. Some decent strength, and the implied volatility is low. So yeah, I'm holding, definitely holding PayPal. On holdings, like I said before, we got a bearish divergence. The RSI is down. It's in a consolidation zone, so could break lower to the 150. I'm sorry, to the 56 or 55.89, and at that point, you want to wait and see, because then it may just fall back to the 200 EMA, and then with no support, fall back to this level. So watch this. I'm in a holding pattern on this, just waiting for this to play out. It's too risky to get in to either short or go long on it right now. Best Buy. Best Buy is rebounding. Like I said, it bounced off of the 200 EMA. So we're gonna watch, and it's already broke 71 resistance, which was 71.80, which is right here. Some resistance right there, as you can see. It's not marked, but it's there. It's actually bouncing off of that right now. So and the momentum, it changed, but now it seems to be picking back up. So this could run a little bit before it falls down. And then last but not least, Alcoa. See what Alcoa's doing. Alcoa, it broke through. I'm mixed on that, obviously. I do have a play on a butterfly trade pinned around 27. So I actually wanted to come. If it goes up, it goes up. But I do actually want it to come down to 27 just to get value in my trade for the week. But that may not happen. Like I said, it looks to have some good momentum. RSI is at a decent level. It's not too overbought. Sorry. And it bounced off of this target, and it's just going to continue to go. It may even go up to 29.76. So we'll watch that. 1 second here. So we'll continue to watch that. So that's my watch list for the week. We'll check out some of the movers. I know the bell's already sounded, but DocuSign was up 19%, and they've crashed off of that. They were up 19%, and it took a hard dive here. They're down 16%, so actually I'm sorry, they were down 19%. Now they're they've rebounded a little bit, but and this was weak guidance. Like, everyone's changing their guidance, and that's not good for the overall market. Then we have Samsara. I don't know exactly what they do, but they're also down 11%. Disappointing report, even though they beat earnings per share by 89% and 4% on the revenue. What more do you want from me? I don't know. Then you never satisfied, I guess. FTC, that's First Trust. This is a large cap growth fund. They are down 9%, and this is due to their SpaceX exposure. Anything tied around Musk right now is taking a dive. And lastly, on the movers is Dassault Systems SA. As you can see, they got a double top forming here. They're down 2%. They delayed profit goal. So they extend their earnings target to 2029, and there's some delayed profits in there. People aren't satisfied with that. So, if it breaks below this neckline, then we probably see a drastic fall to 32, which wouldn't be good. But we always look at that as good buying opportunity. So we got some other stuff in the news, but I think I'm gonna let you guys go for today. Let you go ahead and get started trading. My quote of the day is: we think that next year. The quote of the day from Robert Smith, CEO of Vista Equity Partners. He says, "We think that next year, 40% of the people at this conference will have an AI agent, and the remaining 60% will be looking for work." Yeah, that's not good. So like I said, diversify your personal portfolio. Make sure you learn some AI tools and skills. 17-year-olds are starting businesses on AI. Check out some of my own tools and stuff that I use down below in the description or up in the bio section. And that's a lot of different tools here. There'll be more to come. And my final thoughts is my final thoughts on the market is the strong job reports data. That's put the Fed on hold. So, they're probably, like I said, the odds of them not doing a cut by September is like 70-something%. So in the meantime, we're going to watch volatile names like Tesla, Lululemon, Broadcom as catalysts for intraday trading. So, when it goes down, you pounce on it, ride the rebound, and then get out. That's called staying nimble, and make sure you're focused on setups with volume. Don't get into stuff with low volume and bear traps and people waiting for a lot of volume to come in, and then you're just basically buying their shares. So and that's respect your risk. Risk is you're risking money, so make sure you understand that, and don't force trades in situations where you shouldn't do that. So that's all I have for today. My final disclaimer: the stream is not financial advice. Always do your own research, and consider your financial situation and goals before making any investment. If you got to pay the rent, don't put the rent money on that hot stock tip. And once again, check out my affiliate links. And it's a good way to support the stream. So I appreciate you guys. I'm Reed, and this was your Market Mornings. Trade safe and catch y'all tomorrow. Well, actually on Monday. Have a good weekend. Peace.